Hello my friends, Ahsoka the Geek here, and for today's review we have an advanced look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse excuse me, Crisis on Infinite Earths Anti-Monitor. Huge thanks to the fine folks at McFarlane Toys for sending me this for an advanced review. First of all, here is the packaging. This is a mega fig. There's the trading card you see in there, which has beautiful George Perez artwork. Look at that. Love the artwork on this. Man, just George Perez, phenomenal artist. And it looks so choice. So there's the packaging. So we'll get that out of the way and keep it over here to the right. And then here is the figure itself. So this is a mega fig. It is on the smaller side. You'll see that in a few minutes when I go through some of the size comparisons. But before we get to that, let's talk about the figure itself. So as far as the character selection, you know, I always appreciate it when McFarlane does a classic character like this and does it exactly like it appeared in the comic book. So this is a really nice rendition of the Anti-Monitor from what I remember. I mean, it looks like what it does on the box, but you know, I'm sure there could be some inaccuracies, but I don't remember, honestly. But to me, this looks like the Anti-Monitor. So first, talking about the colors of this figure. You know, so from what I can tell, I don't see much, if any, of a paint wash on here. It looks like everything's molded in, you know, the color of the character, if that's the right terminology. So this yellow, obviously, they just didn't paint it. It's just that's how the plastic was created, and it looks like the same can be said for the blue. Looks like even the eyes, actually, they're not painted or anything. Excuse me. That is molded as well. And then I think the teeth, though, yeah, I do see some paint application there, so we do have some paint there. But other than that, it's pretty much just molded in the colors that it's supposed to be, which is fine. I think that works for this figure. I mean, it looks like it does on the packaging. I always would appreciate a paint wash, but, you know, I think this works. It looks like the Anti-Monitor, you know, it looks accurate. I think it looks really nice. So there you go as far as the paint goes. As far as articulation goes, really good range of motion. The arms can really move around. You can make some really fun poses with it. I mean, I don't remember in the comic books how much action he got into, but you could definitely make a lot of fun poses with this Anti-Monitor. I love his foot, how big it is. Shouldn't have had the box in the background here, so let me move that over to the side. So there it is. So there's the foot, a very long pointy foot. But yeah, I think this figure looks great. It looks like the Anti-Monitor. I'm glad we have this classic Crises on Infinite Earths figure. But, you know, the most important thing, I think, is a lot of people have been asking me how this scales next to other figures. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how he compares to some standard 7-inch McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Alright, so there he is next to the 7-inch Hush Batman. Man, I love that figure so much. And the DC Rebirth Superman. So as you can see, he's taller than the both of them, but he's not, like, huge. I think Bane's a lot bigger than he is. And maybe I'll do a Bane comparison as well. The Anti-Monitor does change sizes in the comic books. So technically, I think this is still accurate. I don't remember what size he starts from, but I know he isn't always huge. But it would have been cool if this was just a really big figure, because I think the most popular, you know, or the most memorable appearance of the Anti-Monitor is of him being more Galactus-sized. But still, nevertheless, he looks good next to these figures. Let's see how he looks, though, next to some Superpowers figures. Alright, so here's the Anti-Monitor next to Batman and Robin from the excuse me, guys, the McFarlane Superpowers line. And I think he scales better here. So that's kind of a cool thing about this figure. He technically scales well with 7-inch, 5-inch, and I'll show you in a few moments how he scales with the mini page punchers as well. But yeah, he looks great next to Batman and Robin. Really like the whole scene here of a very classic looking DC universe. But there he is next to those superpowers figures. And finally, let's see how he looks next to some, I think, 3-inch page punchers. Alright, so there he is next to Batman and Blue Beetle from the Page Punchers line from McFarlane Toys. So I guess this is how ideally I would have liked him to scale with 7-inch figures. I know it's so ridiculous. This probably would have had to be like a Kickstarter or something like that. But I would just love to see a huge, towering anti-monitor that looked like this, you know, scaled to 7-inch. But as it is, still very happy with this figure. It's going to look great on the shelf. Just was usually a little bit bigger. But yeah, there he is next to those page punchers, which he looks great next to them. So you could really have some fun with this guy with other, you know, more micro action figures. Finally, let's see how he looks next to a classic Mattel Anti-Monitor. Alright, so here we have the McFarlane Anti-Monitor on the left and the Mattel Anti-Monitor on the right. There's my hand. So yeah, you can see they're almost the same size. You see a lot of differences in the costume. Again, my recollection of the story, I haven't read it in years, so I don't remember the different costumes he goes through. But obviously this is a different costume than this one, but basically more or less the same. Now the Mattel one, you know, you see there is paint applications, a nice metallic paint scheme to it, much more detailing like in the mouth area, and just overall, you know, with the gold and whatnot. Definitely, I honestly prefer the Mattel one, but the thing about the Mattel one, it's really expensive now. Anything Mattel DC Universe Classics is really expensive. So for McFarlane to do this anti-monitor, I think is great for folks who don't have this Mattel one, because now you can have a really nice anti-monitor, even though it's not as nice as the Mattel one, but still a really nice figure. But now you can have a nice anti-monitor in your collection. So there you go. So yeah, final thoughts. I really like this figure. I think it looks great. Would have liked a little bit more paint application, things like that. But overall, that's just me being nitpicky, I guess. I still really like this figure. I love that we have a very classic depiction of the anti-monitor. Although, now as I say that, I would love to see McFarlane do a crazy McFarlane version of the anti-monitor, like an updated anti-monitor. Because honestly, as much as I love these classic DC figures, I also love modern, interesting, different takes on these characters. So that's just me, but I would love to see a McFarlane take on the anti-monitor at some point as well. But overall, really happy that they made this figure. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. As always, I'll be doing more content on my Instagram channel, so please feel free to follow me there, check out more. I didn't even move the head, it doesn't move. More images and content there. Thanks so much and have a great day.